Hello and welcome to this recording, which is designed to provide support to beneficiaries completing the Key Action 103 Mobility Between Programme Countries application form for the 2017 call. On screen now, I provided a summary of the application process. So in order to apply for funding, you will need to do so using the prescribed application form, which I will show you later on in the presentation. You will need to submit that application form online by 11 AM UK time on the 2nd of February 2017. If you've not already done so, there is a two-stage pre-registration process which we'll need to complete prior to submitting that application form. So first you will need to register your organisation on EU login and then log into the participant portal to register your organisation on the unique registration facility. And once you've completed those steps, you will be given something called a participant identification or PIC code, and you will need that code. It's 9 digits long. You'll need it to complete the application form. If you'd like more information about the pre-registration before you apply for funding, you can find that in section C of the 2017 programme guide. After you've completed those pre-registration steps, you can then start to think about actually filling in the application form. So on the slide at the moment now, you've got 3 different links, or 4 actually. You've got the first link, and that is to the 2017 application form. You've also got the partner mandate form in that second link there. So if your organisation is applying as part of a consortium, you must provide signed partner mandates as an attachment to your application form. If you're not applying as part of a consortium, you're just a single organisation applying for funding, it is not mandatory to have those partner mandates. And then if you're thinking about applying as part of a consortia and you wanted to get the accreditation at the same time as you apply, if you click on that link there in the 3rd bullet point, you'll be able to see the application form. Just to make you aware that we do provide written guidance for participants, or applicants, sorry, and that will be available on our website, the link to which is available at the bottom of this slide. So just to bear in mind some eligibility criteria that you'll need to adhere to when you're submitting your application form. So your application form will be considered ineligible if you fail to attach any of the supporting documents. So if you're just applying as an individual organisation, the only mandatory attachment is the declaration of honour as signed by the legal representative stipulated in the application form. If you're applying as part of a consortium, you will require that declaration of honour, but you will also require the partner mandates for the organisation in the consortium as well. Your application will be ineligible if your organisation is not eligible, and you can have a look on eligibility on pages 35 to 52 of the 2017 programme guide. Your application will be ineligible if you submit after the deadline, and if you're unsure about any of the details and whether your organisation is eligible, please do contact us. The details will be provided in a slide at the end of this recording. And just an important note before we move on to the application form, just to remind you that all grants are paid in euros. As the UK National Agency, we recommend that you use a Euro bank account, or at least find out if your bank can accept payments in euros directly. Having an account in euros can help you avoid exchange rate losses when receiving and making payments. Please also make sure that the name of your bank account matches your organisation's name. If it's not possible, please contact us at the British Council and we will try and help you to find solutions or other options. So we're going to continue this recording now by taking a look at how to complete the 2017 application form for higher education mobility within programme countries. So you can see the link to the form on screen there. I'd like to show you for a moment how best to save the form when you're filling it in. So you would click the link and it will show you a download screen. If you click the bottom button and then click show in folder, you can then select the document from your download folder and open it from there. If you do have any problems opening the application form at all, please do let us know and we will try our best to assist you. So on screen now you can see the application form. You can see here that there are fields of different colours. So if you see section B, you've got some greyed out fields. That means that these fields can't be typed in. You're only able to edit yellow and pink fields. So if you've got a grey section, just bear in mind you can't amend any of these details. So when you open the application form, make sure you take a look at this top section here to ensure that you're applying for the right key action. So if you're just applying for student and staff mobility within Europe, you would be applying for key action 3. You can check the information in section B, context, so all of the information on your application form should be consistent with what's showing here. That's for the fields program, key action, action, action type, call, round, and deadline for submission. When you're filling in the application form, please ensure that you select English from the drop-down list. You will be applying to the UK National Agency and our official language is English, so that is the language that should be used to fill in the form. You can select under section B.1 project identification the total duration of your project. So please note that the project start date is always the 1st of June 2017. You can select 16 or 24 months. And depending on the duration that you choose, the project end date will be populated differently. So for example, for 16 months, you can see it's the 30th of September 2018, and then the 31st of May 2019 for projects of 24 months. You can see at the bottom of section B.1 that the applicant organisation full legal name is blank and it's greyed out. You don't need to worry about filling in that section. When later on in the application form, you will be asked to input your organisation's PIC or participant identification code. When you put that number in and you click check PIC, it will populate the organisation's full legal name in that field. Moving on to section B.2, the identification for this would be UK01 for the United Kingdom. This application form will be submitted to the UK National Agency, so the identification should be selected as UK01 United Kingdom. In the next section of the form, you will be asked to input the PIC number for your organisation. So I'm going to put in the demo PIC number that we have here. So when you type it in, it will be 9 digits long, and then you just click check PIC. And you can see that all of the information under section C.1 applicant organisation is automatically populated. All of the information attached to your PIC number comes from the participant portal. So if any of the details shown are incorrect, you will need to log into the participant portal to amend them. The UK National Agency cannot amend these details on your behalf. You will see once you put in that PIC and you click check PIC, section under applicant organisation full legal name here is populated, so you can see the name of the organisation there. When you're completing the form, you will be required to select type of organisation from this drop-down list. It may already been populated, but we ask you to input your organisation type as a higher education institution tertiary level. The reason for that is that it makes it easier for us to look at what kind of organisations are applying for funding. Obviously only choose that option if it is applicable to your organisation. You've then got the questions, is your organisation a public body and is your organisation a non-profit? Here the questions are automatically populated as no, and that information comes from what has been put on the participant portal. If any of the information connected to your organisation's PIC is incorrect, you will need to amend that on the participant portal. Next you have the question, are you applying on behalf of a consortium? So you either need to select yes or no. You'll notice that the answer to that question will affect the table in C.1.3. So if you select no, in C.1.3 under accreditation type here, you can see that you've got the Erasmus Chart of Higher Education. Now, normally that would be automatically populated with the organisation's Erasmus code, but because this is a demo PIC, it's not attached to Erasmus code. If when you click check pick it doesn't automatically populate your Erasmus code for your organisation in the accreditation reference, you can just type it in. If you're not sure about the Erasmus ID for your organisation, just let us know. If you select yes in response to are you applying on behalf of a consortium, the table under section C.1.3 will change, and you can see here that you're required to input the Higher Education Mobility Consortium accreditation. This information should automatically populate when you click check pick. If it doesn't, you can just type in the accreditation as shown on your organization's accreditation documentation. Okay. So next you will be required to complete the details of the legal representative for the organisation. So this should be the person who is of the sufficient authority to kind of sign into legally binding contracts for the organisation. So the legal representative will be required to sign the grant agreement between the organisation and the UK National Agency. So you fill in all these fields as shown on screen. You need to complete all of the different sections. The department is optional, so if you don't have that information you don't need to fill it in. If the address for the legal representative is different to the address for the organisation, just tick that box there at the bottom, and then a new list of information will come up and you will need to type in the address for the legal representative. If the address for the legal representative is the same, just leave that box there blank. In addition to the legal representative, you will need to fill in the details for the contact person for the project. So the contact person is the person that we as the UK National Agency would contact with any information about the project or grant, and any issues that we have with the project, we would take it to the contact person. So they need to be someone who is, able and available to discuss the Erasmus Plus project should we have an issue. So for all of the fields you need to complete, all of the pink fields you need to fill those in. Again, the department is optional, but if you know that information it would be useful to have. We would recommend, really strongly recommend actually, that the contact person and the legal representative are different people, because if one is unavailable then it's always useful to have an alternative contact. When you are filling in the contact person information, you will need to select whether or not this person will be responsible for online linguistic support. So online linguistic support is part of Higher Education Key Action 1. If you've got any questions about that, please do contact us and we can advise you. But effectively what you would need to do is you would need to delegate a contact person to manage and assign licenses for online linguistic support. So if you select no, that would indicate that you want to add another contact person and they would be the relevant OLS person. So you can add a maximum of 3 contact people to the application form, and one of those people must be the online linguistic support contact person. Again, if the address is different for the contact person as it is to the organisation, please tick this box here and you will be shown a separate section where you can fill in the address for that contact person. If the address is the same, just leave that blank. Please note when you're filling in the addresses, the SEDEX field, which is at the top here, just highlighting a few there, that is for French organisations, so your UK organisation would not have a SEDEX code. If you want to have more than one contact person, just click Add Contact Person, and then you can input the details as you did before. You can remove contact people by clicking Remove Contact Person. Please note that will also only remove the most recent entry. Just bear that in mind if you want to remove any contact people from the project. Okay, now we're moving on to section D.1, activities details. This section is really a very important section of your form. It's really important that you get this information right because it could affect the eligibility of your application form. So you can see at the top you've got a drop-down list for activity type. You've got the 4 different activities there: student mobility for traineeship, student mobility for studies, then you've got staff mobility for teaching and training at the bottom there. In your application form, you need to detail every single mobility that your organisation is planning to send. if you submit one application form and then submit another one later on, the newer application form will overwrite the existing application form. So you need to make sure that you've got all of the mobilities in this application form for your whole organisation. So to fill in this section, you need to select the activity type. And then you can see there you've got the the pink and the grey sections. You only need to fill in the grey sections. We will look at a slide later on that really goes into depth on how to complete this form, but it's just at the moment to let you know that you need to do a cumulative figures for all applicants in terms of the number of participants and the total duration. But like I said, we will go into detail with this in a slide in a moment. So for the moment, I'm just going to fill this in like that. If, say, you had student mobility and you wanted to add a different type of activity, you could click Add Activity there, and then, for example, you would choose the staff mobility there. You'll notice how the layout of the main activities table is different for staff and students. So that's because the students' mobilities are mainly in months, whereas the staff's are usually in days. So just bear that in mind when you're filling in the form. In the next section, which is D.1.1, Summary of Activities and Participants, you will see a completely grey table, which means that it cannot be edited on that table directly. But what this table shows you is a summary of the details that you put in section D.1 Activities Details here. If any of the information in section D.1.1 Summary of Activities and Participants is incorrect, you will need to go back to section D.1 Activities Details and amend it there. Any amendments that you make in section D.1 Activities Details will reflect in this table D.1.1 Summary of Activities and Participants. The final stage for your application form is the checklist. So we as the national agency don't need to see a copy of this. This checklist is just for your reference. All of the things that are listed there are mandatory. So you just need to make sure that you've done all of those things before you submit it to us. It covers things like make sure that you filled in the correct application form, you've filled in all the relevant fields, you've attached declaration on it, etc., etc., etc. The next section is section G, the data protection notice, and no action really needs to be taken on this. You just need to read it, make sure that the legal representative is aware of this, and obviously by submitting the application form you are kind of agreeing to that data protection notice. So please do have a look at it before you submit that application form. Section H is the Declaration of Honour. So you can see that this covers, the terms of the Declaration of Honour are covered under Section H in this section here. I would recommend that you and the legal representative for your organisation look and read through this in detail, so you know exactly what you are applying for and what you're agreeing to. The section that we need to be signed off and signed off by the legal representative and attached to the application form is the section shown on screen now. So by completing this and signing it and submitting this, the legal representative is agreeing to all of the terms that come above in section H. You will need to click the button at the bottom here. You have a print declaration on a button there, and you can click that to print it. The declaration of honour needs to be signed by the legal representative stipulated earlier on the form. If it is signed by anybody else, the application form will be considered ineligible. Section I, Annexes, is where you attach the Declaration of Honour. So you would have printed off the form, got it completed and signed by the legal representative. You would then need to scan it onto your computer, and you can attach the annex by clicking Add, and then you can go through your list of documents, etc., etc., to find the relevant document to attach. Please note that there's a maximum of 10 annexes that you can attach to this application form with a total of 240 kilobytes each. If you have more annexes than that to attach, we would maybe suggest that you kind of merge more than one document into one document. So if you can have two documents in one, for example. If you have any problems with attaching the annexes or anything, just let us know. And then section J is the final section of the form. So make sure that you read all this information on screen before you start the submission process. You will need to click this validate button here before you start submitting or anything like that. The reason that validate button is to make sure that you have filled in all of the fields on the application form. So for example, if I click validate now, it will bring up an error to say that I have not filled in all the fields, I think. Oh no, I have filled in all the fields. So for example, you can say the form is valid. But if I'd missed a field and I clicked validate, it would bring up an error message, and when I clicked OK, it would take me to the section of the form that needed to be filled in. So please make sure that you click that validate button before you start the submission procedure. Next, you can see the submit online button highlighted in yellow for you there. That is the button that you will need to submit the application form to the UK National Agency. Please make sure that when you click that button you are connected to the internet, otherwise it will bring up an error for you. If you're having any difficulty submitting your form online, you can email it to us as the National Agency. We would recommend really that you do that as close, as soon before the application deadline as you can, because we do get quite busy around that application deadline of the 2nd of February. In our written application guidance, we do have a list of errors that you might encounter, and those are errors that would be acceptable for us to accept as part of the alternative submission procedure. So if you get an error message, do take a look at our written guidance, and that will show you kind of how to overcome that. We recommend as well that your organisation print a copy of the form, and you can do so by clicking that print form button there. We recommend this because it's useful for your reference to see what your organisation has applied for under past rounds. So that was the application form for the call for 2017 for higher education mobilities for staff and student between programme countries. I just wanted to spend a little bit more time before the end of this recording to really make clear to you how to complete the activities details for the application form. So on screen now you can see an example of the student mobility. So when completing the activities details table, you must enter the total duration of all requested student mobilities in full, months and extra days. So right now you can see an example of how to complete this section. So in this example we have 20 students who are going on placement for 8 months each. You can see that in the top line there. And then we have a total of 9 students who are going on placement for 4.5 months each. So you can see when we multiply 20 students by 8 months, we get the duration of 160 months. And then we have 9 students multiplied by 4.5 months, and that's 40.5 months. So when we add those two figures together, we can see that the total duration for all of the students is 200.5 months. So that's 204 months and 15 extra days. Just bear in mind that the European Commission considers 1 month to be 30 days. So if you have to put in a fraction of a month into that total duration extra days column, just bear that in mind. So now we've got our total duration, we can type that into the application form. So you can see that I've put total duration in 4 months as 200, and then the total duration as extra days as 15 to reflect that 0.5 of a month. We still, however, need to put in the total number of participants. So what I've done is I've added the 20 students and the 9 students that we had originally that applied, and we've added those together. So in total, we have 29 students and we require a total duration of 200 months and 15 extra days. And that is how you would fill the form in. You would not, for example, put 29 participants and 3 months in the 4 months, because that would be ineligible. The total number of participants and the total duration for all of those participants needs to be input in that table. If you do have any problems with that at all or any questions, please do let us know. It's really important that you get that information correct. Okay, next we will look at how to fill in the activities details for staff mobility. In this example, we have 3 staff members going on placement for 27 days each, and we also have 6 staff members going on placement for 36 days each. So in this case, you would multiply the 3 staff members by 27 days, which brings a total of 81 days. You would then multiply the 6 staff members by the duration of 36 days, and that gives you a total duration of 216 days. So you would apply those two durations together to get the total duration. So 81 days plus 216 days is 297 days in total duration. And you can see I've typed that in on the form in the bottom right-hand corner there. We also need to figure out the number of participants. So we had 3 staff members go for 27 days. So we need to add that 3 staff members to the 6 staff members that are going for 36 days. 3 plus 6 is 9 participants, and therefore to complete this section we will put the total of 9 participants with a total duration of 297 days. I said it before, but I'll say it again. Just so you know, your organisation can only submit 1 application. Therefore, you must detail all of the mobilities for your organisation in the 1 application form. If you do have any questions about how to fill in this section, or indeed how to fill in the application form, please do let us know. We're very keen for you to kind of get this information as correct as you can, because it might lead to your application being ineligible. Just to remind you of the deadline dates, so the eForm that I've just showed you needs to be submitted online by the 2nd of February 2017 by 11 AM UK time. Any late applications will not be accepted unless it's due to one of the technical errors caused by the application form. So please do ensure that you start filling in the form in good time before the application deadline. As a next step, we will recommend having a look at the written guidance on completing the eForm, and that will be published on our website under the guidance section. Again, we've got the contact, and you can see those contact details there. You can give us a call or give us an email between those hours, and we will do our best to assist you. And I suppose all that remains is to wish you the best of luck with your application form. Please bear in mind, if you've got any questions, just contact us. Thank you for your attention.